Well, good morning, everybody. Game time, Brian, coming not live from my mama's basement here. I am off. I'll always be the mailman, otherwise known as, but for the next week, I will be game time exclusive. So I just want to say good morning to everybody. We are on the eve of me leaving. I leave tomorrow probably around noonish, 12:30, probably around 12:30, to head up to the OG Mark Holmes's house where we prepare for our trek to Detroit Wednesday morning for the 2024 NFL Draft. Now, we're not getting a mock draft out of me today. We've been mocked and mocking, and I'm mocked out. I love mock drafts. It's time for the team to do their job and take whoever it is that they're going to take, because at the end of the day, what Game Time Brian thinks or what you guys at home watching think, um, it doesn't matter. It's what Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones and Will McClay decide they want to do with the future of the Cowboys. As of right now, we don't have much of a direction other than this year. Now, I want to caution everybody and just say, listen, everybody's making a little bit of a big deal. We haven't won a Super Bowl in 29 years. So have not a lot of teams. Would I have liked to have more success? Absolutely. I've seen much success. I've seen 5 times the success that people that live near me, okay, in my lifetime. Okay, I've had friends pass away happy that the Eagles finally won their Super Bowl. So, and I'm happy for them. You know, I have a lot of close people to me who are Eagle fans. Not family, but they're like family. And I am so happy that their grandfather, my friends' fathers, they got to see that Super Bowl. It's not easy, people. We don't, it's not. We get caught up in the fandom of, oh, Dallas sucks, the Eagles suck. It's not easy. I showed the graphic a couple weeks ago that a lot of teams don't have any Super Bowls. But I play I watch the Cowboys to win a Super Bowl at this point. There's nothing that the Cowboys are going to do that's going to shut anybody up. If we win one playoff game like we did 2 years ago, I didn't shut anybody up. It just gives you a thirst for more. Um, I will argue that you need to use free agency to, in addition to drafting well, which the Cowboys have always drafted well. Anybody that wants to sit here and say anybody from last year's draft is a bust, then you don't know what you're talking about, because everybody knows. Everybody knows. This goes for Jordan Davis. This goes for Nakobe Dean. Year 3. This goes for any Eagle, any Cowboy. You got to give them 3 years. Okay? Sometimes circumstances is weird. There's been a lot of careers made where guys have gotten off to slow starts. Um, but I think the most important part, circling back to the Cowboys, is leadership. We have a void of leadership in the building. Why? I don't know. I know Dak's a leader, but obviously not enough, because Charles Haley, made that comment, and I'm going to play it. Charles Haley made that comment about the whole leadership thing. And I want you guys just to listen to Charles Haley, okay? And then we'll revisit. But it's about leadership, people.
When you did things wrong,
Can you teach leadership
thought that I had the opportunity to.
We need some dog, people. That's what it is. Let's identify who possibly could be that dog. Um, I don't know. I think Sam Williams, it's a huge opportunity. Yet again, entering year 3 with an opportunity to start full time. Full time, meaning on the field more. He's been crying for it. Sam, you have an opportunity to be one of them dogs. Are you going to be one of them dogs? Only time will tell. D Law, we know D Law's a dog, but D Law's on the tail end of his career. Maybe his last year in Dallas. So it's like, um, I would like D Law to stay around. But again, I think Mike Zimmer is going to define where Micah plays going forward. And if Micah is going to be a true D end, he's going to have to develop even more. Again, I'm skeptical of a true DN for Micah. I really wish, I'm hoping he gets more run at linebacker at the line of scrimmage, not dropping in coverage, A gap type stuff. But I mean, listen, we'll see. It's going to be interesting. And listen, Dallas has an advantage. Mike Zimmer coming in, yeah, you know his defense, but you don't know exactly what he's going to do with these pieces. And we don't know what we're going to get in a draft. So who are we going to get a draft? Well, listen, we know we need running backs, right? We know we need running backs. I got my favorites. I love Jonathan Brooks. So, if you're telling me that we're going to use next year's capital to come up and get our 4th round pick, fine. I would like to drop down a couple times and get a lot of picks in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. That's where I want. Give me 5 picks in there, and I will be ecstatic. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think we'll draft in the 1st round. I think we'll draft in the 2nd. I think we'll use some sort of capital or trade a player to get a 4th round pick. I honestly do. Who that will be, we'll know in a few short days. But let's go to the tape again. Let's hear what oh wait, this is not the one. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see what the scouts on the break, DallasCowboys.com. Let's see what they think regarding running back.
We're going to draft. Kind of a guy.
Big boy. He was a big boy, people. There's just some of the names. Listen, I'm ready for the draft. I got to make sure this comes with. Here we go. Do you see all the highlighted names on there? That's everybody that came to visit with the Dallas Cowboys. So I have broken down. Shout out to Dane Brugler. I definitely use his material. I don't go by his rankings necessarily, but I use the names on the sheets. I highlight everybody that visited. And Dallas normally, especially their high picks, and I did get a good look at a lot of their free agent, the guys that are going to be on their board later in the draft that won't get drafted that they'll bring in, and they normally stick to who they come in and talk to. So very interesting in that. obviously, we're all talking about offensive line, right? Offensive line, offensive line. I want to show you guys this. Let's listen to an offensive line clip. I'm hearing a lot of good teams. I know Ultra had said this a couple times. Good teams don't draft O linemen in the first round, and I would agree with Ultra. Obviously, I mean Jimmy Johnson never drafted O line in the first round. Dallas used to never draft O line in the first round until we got snake bit. We picked up Zach Martin, and I think Travis Frederick worked out. And then they went and did it again with Tyler Smith, and he's worked out. So good teams don't pick him in the first round. You got to be able to find him later. But Dallas seems to be really good at picking him in the first round. So I don't know. I just think obviously there's a void. There's a big void. Now I'm on record as saying I would like to trade out of the first pick, regardless of who's sitting there, not named Troy Fontenot or Olu Fashanu or Joe Alt. They're not going to be there, people. Outside of that, I'm fine with trading out because then that gives like trading to the 20s with Buffalo, assuming Buffalo doesn't take the trade that I predicted that they would, which I think they will. Go to like 28 and then move into like the high 30s or 40s, and now you're talking 5 top 100 picks. You'll get your center, whether it's Zach Frazier or Von Prong Granger, or it'll open the door to take a wide receiver like a Malachi Corley. Or the Pearsall out of Florida, who I really love Pearsall. I think they didn't bring him in. That's the thing. Dallas didn't bring him in. That doesn't mean they're not going to take him. They have taken players that they don't bring in, but not often. So let's listen about the offensive line, which everybody in the world has them taken in round 1. So let's see about that.
Is the offensive line position an absolute lock for the first pick of the NFL draft?
Is it a lock? I would say it's probably 80%.
Okay.
In my opinion, I think a scenario
Based
that you
on
can see
need,
at
right,
the
people?
offensive line is if a lot of those names come off the board quick, those top offensive line names, and they decide to trade back. And whenever they trade back, they lose even more names off that board, and they end up falling on a defensive tackle or a linebacker or something like that. But I think there's probably an 80% chance they go ahead and grab an offensive lineman.
80% chance that they draft an offensive lineman. So, not real surprised there, people. But the age-old question, is it going to be tackle or center? I say center because I think that's what's going to be on the board, but let's hear what they say.
If you cannot draft a tackle that you think is capable, Tyler Smith will be, I will put money on it, he will be a Pro Bowl caliber left tackle.
I totally agree. That's what I said. Yeah, I agree with you.
And
Tyler doesn't want to play left
is
tackle.
more than capable
I totally
to
agree
play
with
left
you.
guard.
Yes.
So you have the answer sitting here if you choose to take that option.
Yeah.
And that's
I
also
think
why
that's
I
what they're
think when
gonna
we
have
go into
to
the
do,
draft,
people.
For me,
Yeah.
I'm looking at center as a more important position I got to get drafted than even tackle because I have an answer here. It may not be my preferred answer, but it is an answer, and it's a workable answer.
Now, I say this, people.
30 visits are starting tomorrow.
This is what I say. We're not stupid, right? We see what the draft is, okay? Wait, let's see here. We see what the draft is, okay? We definitely see that there's not going to be an O-line unless you reach for a Tyler Guyton or a Kingsley Suamataia or a Jordan Morgan. All 3 of these guys are not locks. Nobody's a lock, but there are players where you know. I originally, back when this first started, I had Tyler Guyton coming to the Cowboys. If I think that they don't want a center in the first round, that's going to be your pick. Book it, and I'm going to, I'll be right with my initial guess. Sometimes your first guess is the best, but to me, that would be a bit of a reach, assuming a Jackson Powers Johnson and a Graham Barton are gone. Okay, now I ask you guys, if Jackson Powers Johnson is gone, right? if he's gone and Graham Barton's gone, what do you think the Cowboys are going to do? Go defense, Byron Murphy, if he should happen to be there, or Newton? Jazeer Newton out of Illinois. One tech or, 2-3 techniques. They're not doing that in back-to-back drafts, people. Are they going to go safety? I've heard Ultra say safety a couple of times. Tyler Nubin, fantastic player at the University of Minnesota. I love Jaden Hicks later in the draft. But to me, again, I got to stop worrying about their holes because I see massive holes. I see D tackle you need, running back you need, linebacker you need, offensive tackle you need. That's 4 starters potentially that you need. Linebacker, you may not need a starter, but I think you do to stop the run. Eric Kendricks can't do everything. And Overshone's coming back from injury, and you got Damone Clark. Okay, we'll see about Damone. This is a prove-it year for Damone. He had a decent year with Leighton Vander Esch, and when he got hurt, he went in the tank. So we shall see how they're going to go. Really, that's all I could say. Interesting thing is that Tyler Smith moving out to left tackle probably makes the most sense, even though Tyler himself said he's comfortable at left guard. I can tell you why he said that. You're working in a smaller space, okay? You don't have to usually go up against the best pass rusher on the other team. But Tyler Smith has proven, and I think he's prepared to do it. Now, circling back, what do you guys want? Do you want them to take, assuming the centers are off the board, right? What do you guys want? To take a Zach Frazier, who's a second-round center at 24? I believe that the board would show that Kingsley Suamataia, Jordan Morgan, who I don't think they would take because of his short arms. The Cowboys are sticklers for traits. They just are. Jordan Morgan's a heck of a player. I believe he could play left tackle in this league. They had an issue with Tyler Linderbaum last year, who went to Baltimore and did just fine with short T-Rex arms playing center. So, again, sometimes their philosophy comes back to bite them in the butt, and it helps out teams around them. So like the question is, do you want them to take Zach Frazier, the center out of West Virginia, earlier than we should? But we did the same thing. Here's my question to you. Are you going to take Zach Frazier if the other 2 guys are gone, or are you going to take Kingsley Suamataia out of BYU? Yes, he's a left tackle. He's a little bit slow-footed. His ceiling may not be as high, but I think his floor is decent. I think he'll be okay. Tyler Guyton. We love Tyler's, it seems like. Tyler Guyton is a Tyron Smith clone, but he's raw. He's raw. He played right tackle. He's going to project to the left tackle in the NFL. Amarius Mims played right tackle for 8 games. He may or may not be there. May project to a left tackle in the NFL. I've already said Dallas could draft a right tackle and move, but I don't think that would happen in the first round. Again, to me, the only thing you're going to draft in the first round offensive tackle is if he's coming in and starting. I understand. They always knew Tyler Smith was going to be a starter. They just did. So I would go with Zach Frazier, but I know that everybody would think that would be a bit of a reach because Zach Frazier, to me, is probably the number 2. I don't know. He's like the 3rd best center in the draft. And then after Cedric Von Pron Granger, then you have a lot of question marks. Even Cedric has some question marks regarding size. He's a tall, physical guy, but he needs to put on a little bit of weight. But all in all, here's the deal, people. What are they looking at going into the draft? What's the final thing? What is the final thing that they're going to say in that draft room before we make these picks? And
and how they're going to stack that board.
Very, very interesting there, people.
Also about draft and develop, I think there is kind of a silver lining in the
Let's
fact
listen
that
to this.
they do have Will McClay up there in the scouting department. They do have a scouting department that has done a similar challenge that they need to accomplish this year. They did that back in 2022 with that draft class. Now, what are the odds of having a repeat performance of that? Not great at all. But I think there is a high hope to be able to go and have a strong draft class this year with the 7 picks that they do have. There's talent in all 3 days, and they'll find them. Undrafted guys, they'll find them. So, I think this time next year we'll be talking about a lot of interesting 2024 draft class names.
All right, that's it for the video. In summation, this is the one thing I do love about the Cowboys. The Cowboys will listen to their scouts, as you saw last year with Will McClay, who lobbied for Mozzie Smith over Matt Bergeron. Matt Bergeron was a right tackle. Sometimes you just got to make a projection. He didn't do that much last year in the league, so it really wouldn't have mattered. Those were the 2 guys they were talking about at the pick, at the spot. Again, let's give these players 3 years to develop. Mozzie is already well over 300 pounds. The goal is to get him up to 350 pounds. His job is to hold the line of scrimmage and stop the running lanes. It's going to be a different philosophy. It's going to be an easier philosophy for him to do under Mike Zimmer. Why Dan Quinn did what he did, I don't know. But Dan Quinn has his own headaches now down the street in D.C. because he's got Jaden Daniels saying he doesn't want to play for the Commanders. Let's keep an eye on that situation because I do believe Jaden Daniels is the second best QB talent in this draft. So there's a lot of question marks and not enough answers at this point for the Dallas Cowboys going into the draft. I repeat, we will not get all of our needs in the draft, but just remember, May 1st is when there's a lot of free agents still out there. We will fill the gaps in. So I think what's going to happen is we may come out of this draft saying, oh, my God, we didn't get a defensive tackle. We'll get one, but it may not be. There's not many in the draft that you're going to know anyway. Whether they can get a McKinley Jackson, I think we got to take him in the 3rd, but maybe I don't know that he'll be there in the 4th, but we don't have a 4th round pick. So we would have to move up, which we could give up 2 7s to move up into the 4th and a pick next year to move up into the 4th round, knowing that we are going. I mean, I wouldn't do that. I would give up a pick next year, but I would try and trade down in the 1st round, people. That's what I would try and do. But all this is going to be answered what's today? Today's Monday. 3 days, people. 3 days we'll be on the precipice of the 2024 NFL Draft, and I will be there with my friends, my colleagues, the OG Mark Holmes, Primetime Phil, and Chef David Wiley. We will be there on hand bringing as much content. I will be having content from the time I leave my driveway to heading to Mark. So I'll be uploading videos. I'll try and keep them short so they upload. No, I'm not going to do a live stream from the car because I-95 ain't no joke. But I will be doing a live stream tonight. I didn't do my member live last night. I had a lot going on. I did have time to stop in and join Mark. But I will be doing one tonight. I'm thinking 7:30. We'll lead into Mark's live stream at 9 o'clock, okay? Maybe 8 o'clock I'll go on. Maybe we'll do 7:45 to 8:45. Okay, and then we'll roll right in, and then we'll join Mark at 9 o'clock. But, all right, everybody, that's it for me. I will talk to everybody later. Don't forget that the draft is 3 days ago, and we're going to be hearing this sound ad nauseum. And with the 2024 pick, the Dallas pick 24? Yeah, with the 24th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select. Leave it in the comments. I'll talk to you. Peace.